Hi, everybody. I'm Pete Krupski, the voice of USA Hockey's National Team Development Program. You're watching CTV Sports. Coming up next on CTV, it's the Sports Guys with our good friends Steve, Chuck, and Rod. Don't miss it.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Guys here on Community Television, Channel 1. I'm your host, Christian Gibbons, along with Steve Bainey, Chuck Hiller, Rod Calgren. Guys, another tiring weekend of sports we had, and a really good week of sports if you're a Tigers fan.
No doubt.
We'll get right into we got a lot to cover, so we'll get right into our trivia question. So our trivia question is, Robert Schwartzman won the pole for Sunday's Indy 500. When was the last time a rookie secured the pole position in the Indianapolis 500?
Wow.
We'll have the answer before the end of the show.
Okay, Chuck, got to work on that one.
Yeah.
Smoke coming out of my head.
So we'll get right into our other news of the weekend. The Tigers had a really good week. They lost one game all week.
Right.
They beat the living crap out of the Red Sox 14-2 on Monday. Came back and won a close one, 10-9 on Tuesday. They won 6-5 over the Red Sox, sweeping the Red Sox over the week. And then Friday, they went up north to Toronto and took 2 out of 3 at Rogers Center, 5-4. Blue Jays took the middle game, 2-1, and then the Tigers beat the Blue Jays 3-2 yesterday on Sunday. So this coming week, we head to St. Louis as the road trip continues, and then we come home and face the Guardians. I almost called them the Indians.
Oh,
that'd be a good one.
We face a 4-game set with Cleveland, and I believe it's the first time this season we've played Cleveland. So, and it should be a good one. It's always fun when AL Central foes get together. So
No doubt.
So that's the Tigers news. Let's go over to our friends in Baltimore. The Preakness was held over the weekend, the second leg of the Triple Crown. Journalism, who was the Derby favorite. I don't know if you guys saw the Preakness over the weekend. That was one heck of a race. The long shot, Gosker, everybody thought he was going to win. The announcer thought he was going to win.
yeah.
And then you just see this battle in the middle of the pack as they turn for home, and Journalism just it was like
another gear.
It was. You could see when on the replay when they had the jockey cam, you could see him just like a laser. It was incredible as soon as he got through traffic. So Journalism takes first place, winning the second leg of the Triple Crown.
Was that a photo finish?
No, Journalism.
Half length.
I don't know, 500 lengths or 100 lengths before the finish line we thought it was going to be, but Journalism just, like I said, hit a second gear and took it out.
There was some question about bumping.
That's what I was wondering about.
Yeah,
they were looking at with the camera.
The Baltimore or the Maryland Horse Racing Commission or whatever it's called did inquire and looked at replays, and I don't know, within 2 minutes they decided that it was legal.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
So
Yeah, because what happened, like say, Journalism was trying to come up between two horses.
And they just squeezed them out.
And they didn't separate until like they bumped a little bit, and then they came apart, and Journalism went up the middle. It's like, wow.
I mean, it was one heck of a race.
It was crazy. Yeah.
And especially for Preakness, where the Derby winner wasn't in the race, it was at least we had.
Where was Baez? Baez finished third in the Derby and was one of the horses that really came up fast in the last.
I'm guessing it was one of those things where they didn't want to
raise
run
it.
the Preakness.
Didn't
Yeah,
run.
because it's all about, like Steve said last week, it's all about breeding rights.
Yeah.
And when you're running your horses into the ground every 2 weeks, when they're not used to it anymore, you're taking a chance of them getting injured or killed. And
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
And there's your millions and millions of dollars. I mean, and again, same thing, the Derby and the Preakness. Every one of the horses in the race yesterday
Secretary.
was a direct descendant of Secretariat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
and 2 or 3 of them were American Pharaoh children or
Yeah.
grandchildren. whatever.
Sired, whatever.
Great,
Sired.
great, great,
Yeah,
great,
I
great,
couldn't think of
great.
the word sired. That's what I was looking for. All right, so let's move on to the ice. Eastern Conference Finals are set. The Florida Panthers will take on the Carolina Hurricanes. Just a uninspiring performance last night on Sunday by the Toronto Maple Leafs. Darn, couldn't happen to a better team. If you're a Red Wings fan, anyway. Yeah, it was just, I watched all of that game. Well, I watched until, I don't know, the last 5 minutes. And then when it was 6-1, I was like,
Yeah,
it's
6-1.
it's time to go to
In
bed.
5 minutes to go, you can turn it off.
I don't think they're coming back. But once again, the Maple Leafs choke in the playoffs. It's a story as old as, well, me. Which isn't saying much, but it's something. So game 1 will be Tuesday in Carolina. And game 7, if necessary, will be on June 1st. And then we go to the Western Conference rather, and the Dallas Stars take on the Oilers. So Canada is still in the playoffs.
There you go.
First game will be Wednesday at 8 in Dallas, and you can watch those games on either ESPN or TNT. Just depends on which network has which game, but they're both available here in the Village, so
Oh,
you can enjoy some Stanley Cup playoff action. So Steve, we'll head over to you, and you can talk about the NBA playoffs, Eastern Conference Finals with the Knicks and the Pacers.
All right, yeah, they got Cleveland, of course, got knocked out early by the Indiana Pacers. They lost the series 4-1, and then Boston got bumped out 4-2 with the Knicks, which was rather surprising because Cleveland was number 1 and Boston was number 2, and they both got eliminated. And then the Nuggets and the Thunder were the most exciting series because they were kind of back and forth. And they played in game number 7 on Sunday, and Thunder came out of the closet or something. I don't know what they did, but I mean, they put up 125 points, and the Nuggets put up 93.
oh.
90.
And it really wasn't even that close. I mean, they pulled all their starters, and
Oh,
I mean,
my
both teams had
gosh.
their second string in by middle of the fourth quarter, I think. But yeah, so and then the Timberwolves, of course, took out the Lakers in 5 games. Took them out 4-1. So you have the Pacers going against the Knicks, which is going to be a pretty good matchup. They have kind of a history. And then you have the Timberwolves out west going against the Thunder, which again should be another. Of course, we thought Boston and Cleveland were going to be good, but so it should be a couple of good series. But of course, it's always kind of hard to tell. And while we're on some basketball, we got the WNBA champion, New York
Liberty, right?
New York Liberty. They took out the Vegas Aces 92-78, and the player of the year last year, rookie of the year, Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, they put the beat down on the Chicago Sky and Angel Reese 93-58.
Yeah, that was.
Wow.
And Clark had a triple-double, plus she knocked Angel Reese on her tush, and they wound up calling a flagrant 1. And then some fans started hollering some racist stuff, and it's like, man, it got a little crazy.
I don't know if any of you follow Barstool Sports.
No.
Dave Portnoy is an idiot. He's the CEO or the president of Barstool Sports, but he was the one courtside. I don't know if he was the one yelling racist remarks, but he was going off on Angel Reese.
Oh.
And, Angel Reese is a loudmouth.
Yeah,
And I get
she,
that.
She kind of
She
draws
plays
it,
hard, but come on.
Yeah.
Don't be a child. And then the funny thing was I saw in the post-game press conference, apparently Aliyah Boston got a tech and a fine for getting into that melee.
Oh, right, okay.
And so she didn't realize she had gotten fined for the tech and until the post-game press conference.
Yeah.
And the member of the media was like, how are you, what do you think of blah, blah, blah? And she's like, wait, I got fined? How much? $200. Caitlin Clark goes, "I got you. I'll take care of it."
I
I hope so. You're making a lot more money than I am.
Yeah, man. Nice to have friends for sure. But just the Tigers are #1 in baseball now. They're 32-16,
They're
and
the only ones with over 30.
yeah, 32-16, and this is the first time since '06 that they got to 30 games won in this early in the season.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so they're definitely you can't give
they're
those guys enough credit
Picking
for
up
the
World Series. At least somebody is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then of
Getting
course,
some press.
yeah, and then of course in Toronto, the guy took one off the wall. And,
That was incredible.
Yeah.
Keel Badu
Yeah.
came up from AAA just 3 or 4 games ago and already making an impact. So
yeah, he picked one off that was going over the wall, and then the next batter, I think he hit a line drive to center field,
And
and he
did
came
did
running
the
in.
opposite.
And, yeah, so
he
he
went
had
down
two like
and got
yeah,
it.
he had 2 like highlight plays. So yeah, he
well, I was listening to the game at that point, and Dan Dickerson was making the point that when you turn around and you're going towards the wall in Toronto and you're tracking the ball, they've got and I've been there, so
Right.
there's a ginormous video board out in center field. So when you're tracking the ball coming down,
Oh no.
it can get lost in all those LED lights. But he had it the whole way.
Yeah,
Just
man.
snatched it.
Wow, that was definitely pretty impressive. But yeah, so that about covers all the stuff I got. So
All right, so let's move on to auto racing. The NTT IndyCar Series, the Indy 500, is next Sunday, but this Sunday was qualifying. As we said, a rookie, Robert Schwartzman, starts on the pole on Sunday. Takuma Sato, who's been in a whole lot of races over the years at Indy, is really good there, is second. Pato O'Ward is third. And Alex Palau, who has won all but one
Everything.
of the races so far this season, is sixth. And I always, because I grew up watching David Letterman, I'm always Ray Hall Letterman Lanigan fan. So let's go for Takuma Sato to pull out the win on Sunday. That would be nice. And Will Power, who I don't know if you guys, pretty famous name in IndyCar. Team Penske had some problems with their getting their cars checked with pre-qualifying
Yeah, I'm trying to
inspections.
figure it out.
And apparently there's a lip in the chassis on the back, and and you're supposed to leave it exposed. Well, they bondoed it together, and they didn't catch the first car when it went through inspection, but they caught the second car. And so then they flagged the first Penske car and found out that it also had been bondoed together, whatever. So they were not able to be in yesterday's qualifying. So Will Power, who was one of the faster cars on the track, starts 12th. So not a good.
That ought to be interesting, though,
yeah.
as he goes
It
around. them.
makes for an interesting race when you got a car that fast back there.
Yeah, it's
Keep your eye on them.
Yeah.
But got to remember, Penske owns
right, exactly.
that Indianapolis deal.
Yeah.
That's his deal.
Yeah.
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 And to find your
his track,
own
yeah.
buddy. Yeah.
And it's funny, they talked to the president of Penske IndyCar, but they didn't talk to Roger Penske himself.
I wonder why.
Yeah. So, not that I have anything against Roger Penske. He's done a lot for this
He's
city.
a
but-
gentle person to
Yeah.
talk to. He really is. He's down to earth.
Yeah.
He really is.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to NASCAR. There's so much other sports. I didn't actually watch the All-Star race, so Chuck, you're going to have to fill us in on...
I did not either. I have been on everything I have done has been with the Tigers.
Oh, wow.
The pre-game, the post-game, all the games. It has just interested me because of the new people on there and how long they can stay. My concern is that they have brought up a lot from, Toledo or so on.
Yeah.
And my concern is their shoulder. And you notice that they could go 4 innings. And about the 5th inning, you're starting to see that they're flailing rather than just that beautiful, throwing ability. I have seen it time and time again. We saw it yesterday again, the same thing. But the good thing is that Mr. Hinch, when he sees that, he allows them maybe 1 or 2 more pitchers people to be up there, and then he changes pitchers.
Oh, okay.
He could be a little bit sooner. I would rather he be a little sooner. Sometimes it's one too many that he allows them to do. But I'm very happy that he's bringing these people in, and they are looking pretty good shape.
Yeah.
Yesterday, my son, as we were watching it, we were fascinated, not by the pitchers as much as by the catcher. The catcher was throwing a curveball back to the pitcher, and the placement of the camera saw that it was going like this and coming back. And it was time and time again they were doing that. We sometimes wonder, has there ever been a catcher who was a pitcher also?
I mean, probably in high school. You know, I'm guessing because a lot of times.
But it was so one could watch the thing come back.
Yeah.
It was fascinating.
There you go.
I mean, when you're a catcher, you're hanging around with pitchers all the time. Maybe you picked something up in the minors.
Yeah,
or
but he's
something.
throwing it on his knees even, and it's going like that. I mean, they've got
Yeah, 'cause,
tremendous
I mean, it's
shoulders.
all about the spin on the ball. So, like
Yeah.
say,
Right.
in the grip and that kind of
Now
thing.
they
So
got the
whether you're on your
slurve.
knees or
How about
standing
the
up.
The
slurve?
slurve.
Oh,
It sounds like a drink I'd get at the bars. What that sounds like.
Just having fun, you know.
Yeah.
The catcher throwing the ball back to the pitcher
Yeah.
usually has nothing to do with the strategy of the game or anything
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
However, they showed yesterday one of the signals is when the catcher is there, and just as he's winding up there, the catcher drops his mitt down, just drops it like this,
Oh.
and that means to throw to first base.
Oh, okay.
That's the signal.
There you go.
So now we're tipping pitches here on
Yeah.
Sports Guys.
There you go. And we're supposed to be talking races. What's going on?
Yeah, I
here?
would say real quick on NASCAR. Christopher Bell won the All-Star race. He takes home $1 million. Joey Logano came in second, and he won the game, or he won the race last year. So good to see him in second. Ross Chastain was third. Alex Bowman was fourth, and Chase Elliott was fifth. And you can see the rest of the leaderboard there. And then real quick, Chuck, on Formula One.
Verstappen, he done did it again. It
Surprise.
was in Italy.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, he was in it. They were in Italy, and they had another problem coming up. They were really blistering their tires there. The course is quite wide, but they don't use sand on the sides, and they don't have the big asphalt over the track on the sides. Instead, they use pea gravel. So if one goes into that pea gravel, it'll slow you down.
Right.
But the driving of it goes up into the motor and everything.
Right.
And they're having troubles with that. If you go into that stuff, you may not be injured much. Your car may not be injured.
What
But the
about
cars
guy
behind
following you?
the cars, that's what they were talking about. This pea gravel can really cause trouble for other cars.
Yeah.
Looks
And
like
that
the
was-
Valentine's Day massacre.
Oh yeah, yeah, it was really something. And of
Yeah,
course,
right.
they don't wish to stop the car to suck it up or anything.
No.
It's let the cars go and the force of the air blow the pea gravel off. That's what they think.
Wow.
It doesn't work. Does
Uh,
not work for anything.
especially when you got an intake sucking in as much
Yeah,
air as it
it's all
possibly can.
intake in those things. That intake not only intakes for the motor, but it's the thing that pushes the car down and allows you to go around. By the way, the one thing that they showed that I've never seen before is, you know, the old thing of 10 and 2 driving,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
Not for the new cars, because now with their left hand, they can do the adjustments on the chassis. And so they were showing just how much they're doing it. They drive one-handed, but they're changing their chassis back to the front and back to the front, or maybe a 10-degree turn on one of the back ends.
Oh.
It was fascinating,
Yeah.
a whole new thing. Talk about ambidextrous or something like that. Their brain is going two ways. Imagine doing 230 miles an hour and you're playing with the chassis at the same time you're steering.
The thing about IndyCar is that steering wheel, it's a computer. So you making those chassis adjustments, coming over, making the turns, it's just incredible what has to go through the driver's mind.
And also, he's thinking how much sliding is he going to get on his rear wheels, and he's got to adjust that too in there.
Oh, wow.
Not only chassis movement this way, but you got to think of lateral movement, and then lateral movement
Who's
means
there?
yeah.
Right, especially in the race.
Yeah.
Lateral movement means blisters too, so you got to watch that, and that's another thing.
Wow.
He can't see the rear tires. He can see the blisters coming on the front ones, but he can never see them on the back.
Wow.
It's just fantastic.
It really,
Yeah,
That's why I love
technology is
racing so
amazing.
much. It's crazy. So next up, Rod, we'll go over to you for some golf news. PGA Championship was this weekend as well.
Yeah, man.
PGA was held in Charlotte at Quail Hollow. Very tough course. Over 7,600 yards, which is long, and par 71, which adds that little negative feature for a lot of 490 par fours. Most of the courses I've played on, if it's over 450, it's par 5. So, but they had a couple drivable par 4s, which make it very interesting. About 305 yards par 4 with some interesting contours around the greens, water in some delicate places. If Rory McIntyre McIlroy thinks that he's the #1 golfer, he may be in popularity, but he's got a real competitor in Scotty Scheffler.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Because this course, the cut was, I think, three
Three
over.
Yeah.
and a huge number were just barely over that, better than that. But Jonathan Vegas was kind of the leader for the first couple of days, and then whether it was the weather or how they set up the course, but the last 2 days, for most of the players, just shooting par was doing pretty well, and Scotty Scheffler just took off, as did John Rahm, the Spaniard, and they were kind of fighting it out and around anywhere from 8 to 12 under par. And then on Sunday, when it was really the two of them, Scheffler and Rahm, fighting it out, Rahm must have taken a break or something.
Well, he was ahead for a while, wasn't he?
Oh, he was ahead.
We go back
yeah.
and forth and back.
But
and forth.
on the last 3 holes, he had a bogey and 2 double bogeys.
Oh.
And he went from tied for first to about 8.
Yeah, a couple of strokes in that game.
And it looked like Scheffler just coasted home. Well, it was not exactly a coast, but he certainly played well. and he won his third major. He's won 2 Masters and now a PGA.
So he's got 2 legs of
Under
the Grand
the age
Slam.
of 30.
Yeah.
Under the age of 30.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Now, what
Yeah.
about the big stink about coming with illegal drivers that they had?
Oh,
I've got the
I
thing,
understand
illegal
that.
driver that shook this year's deal. They're finding that their cork in the front of the driver is too much, and it's giving them 9 yards more hitting when they do the testing.
Wow.
And those are illegal. And they are testing the guys coming in, and it's thought of, they test about 50% of the people coming in. McElroy was one of them, and he had to go to another driver because of that.
Oh,
But the question is, why only 50%? The other 50% get to use that illegal driver, and nobody
Right.
says anything.
If they find a problem, wouldn't you want to make it fair for everybody?
That's
Yeah, one way or
that's
the
the
other.
big thing as of today that they're
Huh.
discussing.
That's
Huh.
that's a
It's just like doping a horse. Now we got doping our drivers.
doping our drivers
go.
here on Sports Guys.
Well,
So-
in Detroit, we got a lot of dopey drivers.
Dopey, yes.
Well,
Have you been to Florida?
Yeah, true.
this week they play down in Texas, and then they're going up and play the Memorial at Dublin, Jack Nicklaus's course, and the next really, and then they play the Canadian Open, which is just kind of one of the regular tour places. It's nothing special. But right after that is the U.S. Open at in early June at Oakmont. At the Oakmont Country, and that ought to be pretty good.
Where's Oakmont at? In what state?
Pennsylvania.
Okay.
It's right near Pittsburgh.
Okay.
In fact, if you're going on the Pittsburgh Turnpike, you drive right underneath one of the bridges
Oh my gosh.
at Oakmont to go across. I remember seeing that a couple of times.
And the Rocket Mortgage Classic is coming up.
Oh,
too,
yeah,
here in
yeah.
Detroit in July, I think. So
Yeah, I think they got the Italian Tennis Open.
Well, that's coming up.
yeah, the
too.
French is in 2 weeks.
I thought Italian was going on this weekend.
Yeah.
Coco Gauff got knocked out.
Oh.
Well, Sinner was eliminated because they found that he was taking some kind of, they called it dope,
Wow.
but he was eliminated for 60 days, and that has just ended. So he's an Italian.
Oh, so
and
he's
of
coming
course
back.
way up on
Oh.
number 1 or close
Yeah.
to Djokovic and
Oh, yeah.
some of those guys. But so he's back in the game.
All right, so before we wrap it up for this edition of the Sports Guys, we will get the answer to our trivia question. Robert Schwartzman won the pole on Sunday for the Indy 500. Who was the last rookie, and what year
Well,
was the last rookie on the pole for the Indy 500?
not a clue.
I'd have to
I
say
bet
the
it
50.
was fairly recent.
If 1983 is recent, then
Oh.
yes. Teo Fabi
Fabi.
won the pole on the Indy 500 in 1983
Wow.
Wow.
as the last rookie until yesterday.
Wow.
So that'll wrap it up for this edition of the Sports Guys. Stay tuned. Coming up next, we have our NFL and our Lions schedule special right here on CTV Channel 1. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Hey Michigan, there's a new hands-free driving law, but not everyone's following it. Nope, not allowed. Need to stop that. No, Mom, hands-free. hands-free. Not with the new law. No. Put electronic devices down or you could get hit with major fines, 24 hours of community service, even a suspended license. Go hands-free. Just drive. It's the law.
And welcome to a special edition of the Sports Guys here on CTV. I'm your host, Christian Gibbons, along with Steve Bainey, Chuck Hiller, Rod Calgren. Guys, Lions season is quickly upon us, not to speed through summer, but the NFL schedule was released last week, and so we're going to go through that and then talk a little Lions football here.
They had a rookie minicamp.
Rookie minicamp was underway the last few weeks, and
was there any injuries there?
not that I heard, not of any
Do you
note.
think that they kind of push it down though if there was
I'm
little
sure,
something?
you don't want to injure somebody in
I
May
mean, they're
when-
bruised pretty good.
Oh,
but-
yeah.
yeah.
They'll
So-
keep it quiet.
So we start out on the road against Los Angeles Chargers.
That should be a good one.
And it's
Go
July
see Harbaugh.
31st. And then
Mr.
that
Harbaugh.
is the Hall of Fame game for
there
the
you go.
preseason. And then we head
So it's at the Hall of Fame
it's
place in
at
Canton?
Hall of Fame in Canton, yep.
Yeah.
Which is a beautiful complex, by the
It
way.
really
It is
is.
gorgeous.
If you've never been there,
But it's small, right?
It's small, and I was just there last year, about a year ago now, and they have a couple of turf fields out in front of the Hall of Fame building where, when we were out there, I don't know if he was an NFL player or what, but there were a couple of guys out there practicing. It was just
Which
cool
is-
to see.
Which
you know.
is legal if you're
Yeah.
just two guys. But
Yeah,
if,
but they built
if you see
boxes out there and all kinds of stuff. Their goalposts in the end zone actually expand and contract depending on who's playing there. If they have a high school game, they expand.
Oh,
if
my
they have
gosh.
a college game, they come in, and if they have a pro game, it comes in even more.
And
So
I'm-
it can accommodate all.
And I'm pretty sure that the Canton, whatever the high school is in Canton, plays on that field.
Right.
Can you imagine
Oh,
playing in
what?
that stadium
Ew.
And
with
there's-
all those seats? I mean, it's probably mostly empty, but still,
Yeah.
yeah. Can you imagine that?
And there's colleges that play in there too. Because like saying the stadium's not that big.
No.
Doesn't hold that many. So I mean, I would think most games are pretty full.
It reminds me of Rynearson Stadium out in Ypsilanti. Probably that's
Well,
what I
there's
would.
a lot of colleges in smaller schools in Ohio.
Right.
Right.
In that Akron, Columbus
Sure.
Yeah, for sure.
area. So you got plenty to work with.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
So
Got one more question. Is it natural turf or is it
I
artificial?
don't know.
Grass.
Because
probably, yeah.
I have worked that area for dog shows, and I've darn near died sometimes. The air, the stifling, the heat,
Yeah.
and other areas around it wasn't like that. But right in that area there, man, it was tough. It was
Yeah,
tough.
because like say, I would assume I thought it was grass, but now I'm thinking about it, it's like I would bet it'd be AstroTurf because what they do is they have different fields they can roll out. Like say the college hash marks
Oh
are
yeah.
further apart than the NFL hash
Yeah.
marks. In a high school, I'm sure is different. So when I was
Oh
in
my
Dallas, you go
gosh.
downstairs in Dallas Stadium, and they have a field they roll out for the college game. They have a field they roll out for the championship game, the Cotton Bowl, all these
I
different
just thought they
fields
just
down
had
there.
the same one and they painted over it.
Oh
but they
no,
don't.
no.
We have the internet right here in front of me. It is artificial turf.
Yeah,
There you go.
There's your fact check of the day. So moving on back to the Lions' schedule, we're still on the road in Atlanta for the preseason, and then we are at home on my birthday, August 16th, against the Dolphins. So if you want to buy me Lions tickets, it's my birthday.
There you go.
And then the regular season gets underway. Houston comes to Detroit. Then on September 7th, we go to the Packers rather. And then we host the Chicago Bears and our former offensive coordinator.
That's going to be an interesting one.
It should be.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what Chicago has in store for this season
Yeah,
because
because
they've
Caleb Williams took a lot of heat, but I mean he doesn't have anything there.
right. I mean, when you don't have, you saw that with Matthew Stafford here.
Right.
He had
Yeah.
maybe 3 decent teams around him in his time in Detroit. So you've got to have all those pieces together.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, if St. Brown hadn't come alive, Jared Goff would be.
Right.
Jared Goff is struggling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we let's make sure we're going here. Baltimore, we're in Baltimore on the 22nd, and then we come back home to play the Browns. That should be a good matchup for the Lions, at least.
Yeah. Browns
Cincinnati,
still don't have a quarterback. They got
Yeah.
5, but they still don't have one.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, they
they haven't
figure
had
that
one in
one
a
out.
while.
Yeah.
Poor Cleveland.
Yeah, because they drafted 3 kids.
Cincinnati will be tough.
Cincinnati will be a really good game.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking at tickets
Joe
for that.
Burrow.
Yeah,
It's
you're going to
be
get
a
a
good
connection with that
That's
one.
going to be a good one to go see. And then we head to Kansas City back to face the Chiefs and Taylor Swift's boyfriend.
There you go.
Then we head
And
back
they got
home.
this guy named Mahomes that
Isn't
plays
it
out there,
Taylor-
too.
Oh, that guy too. Yeah.
Right.
Taylor Swift's husband, isn't it?
No, they're not
No.
married yet.
They're
I
not?
don't think so.
Not yet. Maybe by then. Who knows?
Yeah.
And then the Buccaneers come to town, and then the Vikings come to town,
Ooh.
and then we move on to. Come on. Computer's
on.
letting me down here, folks.
Uh-oh.
There we go. The Commanders. We head to Washington to play the Commanders.
Yeah, I don't think we ever want to go to Washington again.
No, and not after last year. And then we stay on the road and play Philadelphia next.
Oh.
And then the Giants come to town. And then our Thanksgiving Day tradition, Green Bay Packers. I always love when it's a divisional rival
Yeah.
for Thanksgiving. I
Changed
think
the
it means
time on that too.
yeah, it's 1 o'clock now instead of 12:30.
Yeah,
Why they changed the time?
Why they're making a big
Because of
deal
3 games a
of
day.
that.
Because it's always they always did it at 12:30
Right.
because it was go to the parade, then go to the Lions game. Well, now that we're good, there's honest to God, this is what I think.
Network.
Now that we're good, not necessarily the TV network, but parking.
Oh,
Because all that parking that's used for the parade,
Oh.
but then you've got all these people tailgating too. So that's taking up all that parking downtown. And there's a lot more people going down to just watch the Lions game. And they might go to the parade, but they're there to tailgate for the Lions game. So I think it was that, and I think, like you said, I think we're Fox this year.
Yeah.
So Fox has our game, and CBS has the Cowboys game, and then NBC has a late night game, and I forget what the prime
What's
time.
it, Texas?
Cowboys are what, about 4 o'clock?
4 o'clock, yeah, they're in the middle game of the. And I think that they're playing the Eagles. I think the Cowboys are on
Cowboys.
Thanksgiving, so that should be a good matchup too. And then Dallas comes to Detroit on December 4th, and then we face Matt Stafford and the Rams on the 14th, and then to round out the season, the Steelers come to Ford Field, and then we have
Maybe with Aaron Rodgers.
maybe with Aaron Rodgers. Who knows? That's an interesting story that we'll be keeping an eye on
There you
because
go.
it'll be interesting to see if Aaron Rodgers comes back. And then Christmas Day. So don't make plans on Christmas if you want to watch football.
But will we be able to watch it, or is it going to be one of those oddballs?
So it is. It's a Netflix exclusive.
There you go.
However, the NFL, being the NFL, is one of the last leagues to say if your team is on a streaming platform or on cable, we will give the rights to the broadcast to one of your local affiliates.
That is nice.
So most likely, don't quote me, and as we get closer to Christmas, I'll verify this. Normally, Fox 2 picks up the Lions games that are on streaming, and if they're on ESPN, then Channel 7 will pick it up. But so I'm guessing the game will end up being on Fox 2, which would be Channel 9
Yeah.
here at the Village. Same thing with, I think we've got a Thursday night game.
Yeah.
If we go back and look at
think it's-
before or after Thanksgiving, the
Yeah, there it
Cowboys
is.
game will be on Amazon Prime.
That's-
That game will also be available, I'm guessing, on a local station here and a local station in Dallas.
Oh, that is something.
Yeah, the NFL isn't stupid, you know. They
Yeah.
they
'Cause
still
when I saw that, I thought that's the end of those games.
yeah. No, but if you've got Netflix and don't live in Detroit or Minnesota, then you have to have it. You know, you have to get
Yeah.
Netflix. But so that is the Lions' schedule, guys. Any thoughts? Any games you really are looking forward to?
Like I say, I'm curious how number one Chicago is going to do because they got our old offensive coordinator, and like I say, they got this Caleb Williams that's supposed to be good, but I mean he just didn't have anything to work with last year, and so like I say, the thing is, I mean Chicago wound up being a joke of the league kind of thing because they just couldn't get anything done. But
And it'll be interesting to see, especially when the Bears play us. Is the first series Chicago plays, are they going to run some stupid trick play?
yeah.
That was in Dan Campbell's playbook last year. You know,
Hey, you never could tell, man.
it'll be interesting to see what that matchup looks like with
Yeah.
with coordinator versus former boss.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I say, the game against the Chargers, you're going against Jim Harbaugh, who was Michigan coach for a while. So it's like, that's going to be an interesting matchup.
Is John still the coach at Baltimore?
He is.
Right.
He's been there
The
for a
Ravens?
long
Yeah.
time now.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and they got the Ravens later in the season. So,
Yeah.
so that's going to be, and the Ravens, like I say, normally they're pretty tough to beat.
Pretty good.
Yeah. But like I say, and then of course it's Cleveland. Cleveland are like, I mean, which quarterback are you going to start? I
Right.
think Deshaun Watson is all but gone.
Yeah.
But like I say, he's still technically on the roster. And then they drafted the quarterback out of Oregon, Dylan Gabriel. And then at number 144, they got the kid Saunders out of Colorado.
Shadur Sanders. I still can't believe, going back to the draft,
Oh,
I
that
can't
was
believe
bad.
how, I mean, he's not great. I mean, let's.
Right. I mean,
just
yeah,
because
coming
of
from
his last name
Colorado.
doesn't mean you're a good player.
Right.
But, you know, his dad and all of his dad's cronies were talking him up, and
Yeah.
so everybody thought he was going to go in the first round, and then
Yeah.
he
Well, the
kept
funny-
falling and falling and falling.
Yeah, the funniest thing for me is the pro pickers, Mel Kiper.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going number one. It's like, then he falls to 144.
Yeah, so
It's
A,
what
who are
is-
you getting your information from?
Right, yeah.
And B, what stories are you trying to peddle, you know, just
There's
to
the
make good
thing.
TV?
Yeah,
You know, so we don't do that here on Sports Guys. Real information, as far as we know.
there you go. Yeah, because Cam Ward was always like number 2 or 3, you know, through the whole process. And then, like I say, when you actually got to draft day, Cam Ward goes first, and Saunders sits on the,
Yeah.
you know, because that'd have to be like really embarrassing, especially going into the next day.
Right. Well,
You know?
and did you hear the horrendous story of one of the general manager's kids got a hold of Shadur Sanders' phone
yeah.
number
Yeah,
and prank called
right.
and pretended that he was about to get drafted and then hung up? Well, that team, I can't remember what team it was. That team got fined,
Oh, big time.
and that GM got fined
Yeah.
for that move because what's wrong with you?
Yeah, yeah.
mean-
the kid went into the dad's computer and got the number.
Oh, that's how he got it.
Yeah,
Then.
and then like I say, because the dad, I'm sure didn't know anything
Right,
about
yeah.
it until afterward.
Boy, you sure learned.
But the
how
kid
to-
was just screwing around, you know. It's like, you know, but all of a sudden it's like, you know, that's not a good thing to play
No,
with,
that's
you know.
that's just wrong.
Yeah,
And
that,
the kid
that
was
was
old enough
definitely
to
wrong.
know better too. He wasn't
Yeah.
no.
You know, and like I say, because they went through that with Aaron Rodgers years ago when they had him scheduled to go at least in the top 10. And like I say, he wound up going on and on and on. He still got in on the first day, but it was much later than anybody had him picked for. So
They don't print large things saying you got picked on the first day.
Yeah, right.
there
It's
you
all
go.
how you play once you're in the
Yeah.
in the show. And the other matchup I'm interested in is J.J. McCarthy coming back to Detroit,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
playing with Minnesota. I'm not sure if he's going to start or not, but you know he's with Minnesota now.
Yeah.
So
Well, Minnesota doesn't have anybody else, do they?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Yeah, I think they got put all their chips in one basket, and J.J. McCarthy's the guy that's going to try to do it. So
And, you know, coming back after injury, and then
yeah.
so hopefully good things for JJ, except for when he plays in Detroit.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah, because I was surprised they let Cousins go
yeah,
a year or two ago.
you know,
You know, yeah,
he was aging, but he still had
Yeah, he's
could
still a
game.
quality
So,
quarterback.
yeah, I don't. we're not GMs, but I don't. Sometimes you wonder what these people are
What
thinking.
are you thinking?
And again, it's money.
Yeah.
I'm guessing he wanted more money. He's got what 1,000 kids that he has
You
to
know,
provide
and
for.
like I say, and then you get a team like Cleveland that gives Deshaun Watson $1 billion guaranteed.
And doesn't do anything. to
He
help
does
him.
zero. Of course, he got hurt, but
Yeah. Well,
yeah, but still, I mean, it's like he hasn't done anything for crazy amount of money that they gave him for long-term contracts.
Oh, yeah,
It's like,
the long term.
I mean, they're going to be paying that guy for a long time. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, you just never know what these guys are thinking. You know? Yeah.
But again, we're all GMs and our lazy boys, right?
You know,
and we're all,
there you
and
go,
we're all
there you
coaches.
go.
That's what football is for.
Yeah.
That and turkey on Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
So
but like I say, so the division should be a little more interesting this year.
well,
let's
this
say
year
with,
was last year. It was last.
Yeah, like I say, Minnesota's got McCarthy,
Yeah,
and then they got the offensive coordinators, head coach in Chicago, and of course Love is in quarterback in Green Bay. So yeah, it's going to
and
be
Jordan Love really took a step forward, I thought, last season.
yeah, especially towards the end of the season. It's like, man, he really started coming
Yeah.
on.
I mean, we're lucky he didn't do that a few weeks ahead. Because,
Yeah.
So real quick, off the cuff, I want your predictions for the Lions this season. How
Yeah.
far will we make the playoffs? You don't have to give me a record. Will we make the playoffs? How far will we go in the playoffs? Will we win the Super Bowl? Steve, you first.
I think they'll make the playoffs. Now, how far they're going to go in the playoffs, I would doubt they're going to go very far. Because, like say, last year, I mean, they just, I mean, outstanding regular season, and I mean, they were just kicking butt and taking
And then
names.
all of a sudden,
And then they go into the playoffs against a rookie quarterback in Washington and lose. It's like,
Yeah.
they didn't come out to play. They didn't
yeah,
come out to
No,
yeah.
play.
and
So
same
I
thing-
don't
and
know,
same
was the
thing in the
mentality?
The year before in the NFC Championship game, too, they came out in that second half and just,
Yeah, laid an egg.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
all right, Chuck,
Okay, 10-7,
10-7. How
the
far
second round.
they'll make it to the second round? Rod?
I think they'll make the playoffs,
Yeah.
but beyond that,
a little bit iffy.
yeah, maybe the second.
I
Right.
think they make it to the championship game again, whether they win it
Oh,
or
that's
not.
beautiful.
Jared Goff is just, and if we have Montgomery back, if we have
Right.
Sonic,
A lot of
and,
big ifs.
and whatever the Sonic and the Hedgehog, whatever their nicknames are, just left me. And we've got
join the crowd.
J-Mo and Hutch is
Anzalone
back.
coming back.
Yeah, there's
If Anzalone comes
Hutch.
back, I think if Dan Campbell pushes all the right buttons and gets his coordinators to lock in, hopefully we don't take a step back
Right.
There's
in,
the thing
in
that scares you.
offensive and defensive coaching ranks, then I think we have a chance to make the championship game. I'm not sure who will play. Probably Philadelphia,
Oh,
but we'll see.
Yeah, but I think that was one of the things that that he took like some of the coaches that they already had on the roster
Right.
and moved them up to coordinator position. So I think that was a good move.
And coaches
Instead of
that
whole
were
different-
coaches that were in the Lions system
Right.
went away to get higher positions and now are coming back
Right. There you
to
go.
work in the Lions organization. So they're Dan Campbell disciples. They've just had a little more worldly experience now.
Yeah.
So,
beautiful.
all right. So guys, we will revisit this in a few weeks when down the road on Rotunda they get to work. We'll revisit the Lions season, but that'll wrap it up for this Lions schedule special. We hope you've enjoyed it, and we will see you all next week here on the Sports Guys.
Hi, everybody. I'm Pete Krupski, the voice of USA Hockey's National Team Development Program. You're watching CTV Sports.